Welcome to Adventist World Radio, the voice of hope. You're tuned to New Life program. My name is Dylan Odhiambo. To kickstart today's show is the Family Life segment, where our topic of discussion will be children and fights. Later on, we'll be joined by Pastor Lee Kimani on the Bible segment, as he'll be looking at Climbing Jacob's Ladder, Part 1. For now, let us start the show with the song Sweet Hour of Prayer by Nathaniel Negol. Stay tuned and don't go too far. Welcome back, dear listener. Are your children always involved in cat and mouse fight? Susan Apondi is here and she is going to take us through children and fights during the Family Life segment. Stay tuned as we learn more on this topic.
Fighting among siblings is viewed as natural as the changing of seasons. This is another edition of A Family Life that comes to you from Adventist World Radio weekly. In today's program, I will take you through ways which you can keep your children from fighting. My name is Susan Apondi. How do your children relate with each other? Like many parents, I know you have a deal with fight cases in your family, especially which comes from your children. If you can remember your childhood life, you can't count the number of times you fought with your sister or brother. As the program progresses, you will know how you can limit the fights. Keep tuned. Did you know that sometimes your children fight so that you can notice them? In fact, if you don't pay any attention to your kid, they will look for a solution. If you look at them nicely, they will live at harmony. If they fight, ignore such fights because as much as they want you to notice them, that may be dangerous to their lives. Next, we look at the 5 ways of reducing fights. Don't go away. The first step is treat your kids the same. If it's to punish, do it equally. In fact, you should not sort out. If you get into who started the fight, you will teach them how to be victims and bullies. You know some children are very good in arguing out. He or she will deny having started the fight when he knows he or she did it. Thus you end up punishing the innocent kid. Dear listener, this kid will continue being a bully in his life. You can best get out of this by not taking sides. This way, the kid will know mom or dad have no time for me to argue my points. Step number 2. Give your kids positive reinforcement. By this I mean, let your kids know they are doing a wonderful job when they get along. Not always that the kid gets into the wrong. Give them the attention when they behave the way you want them to. Avoid shouting and calling names when they are on the right. They will feel that you don't appreciate, so they will be tempted to fight. Hope you are still following the steps. Next, we look at the third step. You should limit your own fights. This is the most important of them all. Remember, a child will learn from what he or she sees you doing. When you fight in their presence, what do you expect from them? Be good role models. Sort out your differences away from your kids. This way, they will not fight because they can't give any reason for fighting. Yet you don't. If you have joined us, this is Adventist World Radio. In today's program, we are looking at ways to reduce fights to your children. And we are at our 4th step. Control your reaction to their fighting. As a parent, when you intervene, make sure you stay calm because if you become angry and assuming, you actually make it more likely that fighting opportunities will occur again. Listener, find a better way of punishing your children. The 5th and the last step. Limit fighting opportunities. How can you contribute to fights? Keep tuned. For example, if you buy a blue ball and a red one to the 2 kids, one will feel that the other one looks better than his or hers. As a parent, they are all of them the same. But will your kids feel so? So if you should buy an item for your kids, buy similar ones. You can also limit these fights by avoiding putting your kids close to each other when they are not in their moods or tired. Dear listener, children are precious gifts from God. There's none who needs special treatment compared to the other because maybe he or she is brighter. Firstborn or lastborn, they never created themselves. So if you are a parent who discriminates against your very own children, think twice. As we come to the end of our today's program, it is important to love your kids for who they are. Every day show them you love and care. In fact, if your kids feel loved, they're least likely to fight. To damage fights is all you need to learn. Are your kids always in fights? I'm sure you have learned something. Apply what you have and you will have a difference in your family. Thank you for keeping tuned to Adventist World Radio. Till next time, for another Family Life program, God bless you.
Our topic today has been children and fights, and as usual, if you wish to join in our discussion, comment or send your views, our postal address is Adventist World Radio 42276, code 00100, Nairobi, Kenya. Or you can send us an email on awrnairobi@eku.adventist.org. We are taking a short break, but Pastor Lee Kimani will be back to tell us more on climbing Jacob's ladder during the Bible segment. Keep it the voice of hope. For now, here is the song Hiding in Thee by Nathaniel Nagol.
Safe to the rock that is higher than high, my soul in its conflicts and sorrows will fly, so sinful, so weary, thine the blessed rock of ages, I'm hiding in thee, hiding in thee, hiding in thee, the blessed rock of ages, I'm hiding in thee. In the calm of the noontide, in sorrow's lone heart, in times when temptation casts o'er me its ban, in the tempest of life on its wide heaving sea, the blessed rock of ages, I'm hiding in thee, hiding in thee, hiding in thee, the blessed rock of ages, I'm hiding in Oft in the conflict, when pressed by the foe, I have fled to my refuge and breathed out my woe. How often when trials like sea billows roll, have I hidden in thee, O the rock
It's now time for the Bible segment. Welcome, Pastor.
Hello, my friend. Welcome again as we continue our journey together. My name is Pastor Lee Kimani, and I will be taking you through this journey of passage of Scripture. Today's passage, I would like us to consider a title considered, Give Me What You Have, Keep on Climbing. And this comes from the book of Genesis chapter 28 and verse 10. And it reads, Jacob left Beersheba and set out for Haran. When he reached a certain place, he stopped for the night because the sun had set. Taking one of the stones there, he put it under his head and lay down to sleep. He had a dream in which he saw a stairway resting on the earth with its top reaching to the heavens, and the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. There above it stood the Lord, and he said, I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham, the God of Isaac. I will give you and your descendants the land on which you are lying. Your descendants will be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out to the west, to the east, to the north, and to the south. All peoples on earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised. When Jacob awoke from his sleep, he thought, surely the Lord is in this place, and I was not aware of it. This passage, I would like us to share the song by Howard Thurman, which says, We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder, soldiers of the cross. This tune, though simple, is composed of a disturbing melody. It gathers all the hopes of human dreaming. It is a tune which enables heaven-bound singers to march through misery of slavery. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. Even in this age, it keeps coming back to the hallways of our mind. We are climbing Jacob's ladder, soldiers of a cross. We cannot approach the deeper meaning of this spiritual song born out of the crucible of pain and agony till we understand, my friend, the biblical context from this passage. The story of Jacob is historically fascinating. You see, God kept his promise to Abraham and Sarah long after their reproductive years had come to an end. And soon they had a son named Isaac. Isaac took a wife named Rebekah, and to this union they had twin sons whom they named Esau and Jacob. You will recall as we read this story that Esau and Jacob, when they were born, Esau was the firstborn and Jacob was the secondborn. The fact that Esau was the firstborn was significant because by right of birth, in the Hebrew culture, Esau would succeed his father as the head of the family clan. And yet, even in the birth process, while Esau and Jacob were making their way down the birth canal, Jacob grabbed hold of Esau's heel, trying to gain a position of superiority and preeminence over his brother. You see, the name Jacob means he clutches. The name Jacob means one who is a supplanter. The name Jacob through history conjures up images of one who is identified with deceit and duplicity. The name Jacob is identified with a man who gained the birthright from his father through craftiness, deception, and guile. And it was as a consequence of Jacob's deceptive practice that he incurred the wrath of his brother. In a moment of weakness, the younger Jacob outwitted his brother Esau. All for a plate of stew, Esau sold his birthright. Subsequently, Jacob convinced blind Isaac that he was in fact Esau, and he received the blessing that Esau, his older brother, should have received. As a consequence, the Bible records in Genesis 27:41 that Esau hated his brother because of the blessing his father had given him. And he said to himself, the days of mourning for my father are near, then I will kill my brother Jacob. So Jacob was in jeopardy. Jacob could not stay, and so Jacob left. And so Genesis 28:10 records that Jacob left Beersheba and set out for Haran. Jacob left Beersheba a vagabond and a fugitive. Jacob went out on that dusty road to Haran with guilt as his only companion. Jacob went out an exile, a vagabond, a stranger, a homeless fugitive, never to see his mother whom he loved dearly. Jacob went out trying to find a way to escape death, and shame would not let him go back. Jacob went out too stubborn to go back and ask his brother's forgiveness and unable to forgive himself. Jacob went out afraid of the approaching darkness, but much more afraid of the darkness of sin, which was the legacy he left behind. You see, in the life of Jacob, my friend, God did not condone the act of deception, but he overruled it. And that's how God works with our lives. He sees us where we are. We gain the birthright that we have by craftiness. We sin against him. And we find ourselves alienated and isolated, not only from God, but also from our families. And it is in the darkness of despair, when it pressed upon his heart, when Jacob hardly dared to pray, that God came very close to him. You see, our lives are most times shattered by the consequences of our actions. And that is what happens to all of us. We sin, and the consequences of our sins will finally catch you. And we, like Jacob, find ourselves far from God, our Father, and far from those whom we have offended. Many of us find ourselves isolated from our loved ones, and the darkness of despair is too much to bear. We, like Jacob, find ourselves unable to pray. But I came here to let you know that when you pray, everything will be all right. You see, so Jacob was far from the safety and security of home, isolated from his beloved family, feeling abandoned by God, hardly dared to pray, but he was so utterly lonely that Jacob knew that he needed God like he never needed him before. I pray today that you will feel the need for God like you've never felt before. You see, Jacob had lost all confidence in self, and he feared that the God of his fathers had cast him away. And it was right there, between Beersheba and Haran, that Jacob fell asleep. There are times in our lives that we also need to fall asleep between our Beersheba and our Haran, a place in the middle of nowhere, a place where we feel isolated, between our crisis of yesterday and our anguish of tomorrow, our anguish of today and our uncertainty of tomorrow. We need to fall asleep like Jacob fell asleep. His twin brother had become his mortal enemy. He wondered if he would ever reach his destiny safely. He longed to fellowship with his father and his mother again. I don't know what kind of sleep Jacob slept, but the Bible says that Jacob slept with the rocks to serve as his pillows. He slept with only dew to serve as his blanket. He slept the sleep that makes you wet your pillow with nervous sweat and salty tears. He was caught between yesterday and tomorrow, and somewhere between midnight and daybreak, the Bible records that Jacob dreamed, and behold, a ladder set upon the earth. It was a ladder that reached its top to the heavens. It was a ladder that spanned the time with the timeless. It was a ladder that stood in the finite and reached the infinite. It was also a ladder that had angels descending and ascending on it. And ever since, we, like Jacob, have been singing, we are climbing Jacob's ladder. You see, that ladder was a visible symbol of the real and uninterrupted fellowship between God in heaven and his people on earth. The angels descend to present your needs before God and descend with promises of divine assistance. So today, as we look at Jacob's life, I wanted to invite you to stand between your midnight and your tomorrow, and to allow God to speak to you through the life of Jacob, to allow God to lift you up so that you also could be climbing Jacob's ladder. Come back again for our part 2 as we share the story of Jacob and the experience and the victory he had, so that we can also be climbing Jacob's ladder. May God bless you.
Hope you have been blessed through the songs and our topic of discussion. we have come to the end of today's program, but be sure to join us next time with much more. You can talk to us through our postal address, which is Adventist World Radio, 42276, code 00100, Nairobi, Kenya. Or send us an email on awrnairobi@eku.adventist. On behalf of New Life Production Team, we wish you a blessed day. I have been your host, Tileno Diambo.
In